I think for me, the journey was not about me. The journey was how can we position AFGRI in a place where AFGRI can make a difference in people's lives. You will see when I became CEO 1st of October in 2008 that my journey of positioning the company was about that. It was trying to find a platform where we can have an impact in people's lives, whether it's customers, whether it's a small-scale farmer, whether it's a commercial farmer buying from hinterland or hopefully now town and country again. All that we did was using the information that we had at that point in time, praying about it and making a decision for that point in time, and hopefully creating something that will last past me. You may remember in many times I said that what we create here is above me, it's generational. So hopefully the next generation of leaders can take it forward. You know, we were able to grow the company from, I think when I joined, 2,800 people to where today we've just over 7,000 people. So, and that for me is life. That for me is creating a family where people can belong, they can look after one another and they can be accountable. And that's what I want you to continue to do. Life in AFGRI is not about me. It's about what you do about AFGRI and how you drive it and how you position it and what you make of it. My time here is up, but my time in food and food security in Africa is not up. The Lord has given me, when I joined AFGRI, and even long before you, I want to share this dream with you as well. So, or vision. I had a vision when I arrived on the 11th of August 2002 in New York. I saw a vision of a sugar bowl, but a huge one. So it's when you watch these animated movies, you know, these little people, and you have this huge bowl in front of you and this huge spoon, and I was taking the spoon and I was feeding people. That was back in 2002. Long story short is, Absa at that stage wanted to buy a company in New York. I was then seconded by the bank to run that for them or to be part of it, and then the Reserve Bank didn't approve it at that point in time. So I found myself in New York and had to build a business from scratch, which took us about 2 years. But in that time, I felt the Lord saying to me that I should write a business case about food security. So this is back in 2002. But in that time, in writing that, I thought by myself, you know, what is this and why do I have to do that? But so for me, I don't see myself as having the right to question the Lord. I'm not big enough or strong enough or high enough to question what He wants me to do. So I take His words and His visions and His dreams, you know, as it comes, and I believe in that. And at that point in time, I took the time and I wrote a business case. I said, Lord, here's the business case. About 3 weeks later, I felt I should design a logo for this. Now I'm sitting in an office in New York, a Boerseun from Potties, but the very small guy from Potties, and I sit here in New York, and the only reason why I got here is because the Lord took control over my life. And at that point in time, the logo I designed was a sword with a piece of material that's unveiling, and it really speaks about food security and storehouses in Africa. So fast forward to 2008, where my journey took me to AFGRI, and I got here and Jeff resigned. And I didn't apply for the CEO's position. The chairman came to me in July 2008 and he asked me whether I wouldn't want to be part of the process, and I said obviously yes. I went back to my wife and I said, now we have to pray. Because there were about 8-9 people on a short list and I was one of them, but I thought by myself it would be unfair to go through a journey and then somehow get picked, and then I tell the people I need to go and pray about it because it was a listed entity. So in that prayer, a friend of mine again gave me confirmation from the Lord saying that I must allow Him to appoint me where He wants me to be. So that was already halfway into the process, but at that point I knew already that the Lord is going to give me this position because He wants me to do something for Him. In 2000, before the decision was taken, I had my 40th birthday, and a friend of mine came to me. My wife gave me a function, and this friend of mine said to me, now this was 2008, 6 years after I drafted that business case. And this friend of mine came to me and he said, I don't know why, but I felt in my spirit the Lord says I must give you this present. And he gave me such a big sword that looks very similar to the one that I designed in 2002. It wasn't about me, and being here is not about me. It's about what the Lord wants to do in feeding people in Africa. The ability that I had and the amazing grace from the shareholders to try and position that and have impact in the people of Africa, I will forever be grateful. I think the way that they've done it is unbelievable. Supporting me, at that stage it was a listed entity, I gone on to a process where we delisted the company so that we can get long-term investors in. I got to Prem and to Paul and Mike and Fairfax, and it's unbelievable the support they've given me. So I have nothing else to say to them other than thank you. Because for me, they've allowed me time to position this company, and I do believe that what you have in this company is going to be great for the people of Africa in years to come. What I can do is follow my heart and then get to a point where I decide what is the next door, what is the next part of the journey. What I know for a fact is that I will be involved in food and ag, that I will continue my dream of supporting people and driving food security and making a difference. And how I'm going to do that, in what form I'm going to do, I don't know. But I know it's going to be bigger than what I know now. And that is my story. It's unfortunate, and I apologize for those people who don't necessarily understand the way that I walk with the Lord. I don't expect you to understand. Faith is a very personal thing. But faith is born out of understanding, it's born out of love. And if you don't have that, it's sometimes very difficult to believe. And we don't necessarily understand when that next phase of a journey in somebody's life starts. And that is where I am today. The Lord has come to me and my next life starts. And I haven't resigned because of somebody or because of a person or because of something happening in AFGRI. I resigned because the Lord has opened the door for me. And He started a new journey for me. And I can't, as a result of Him choosing for me to go into a new journey, actually decide to stay behind in the old one. Because then you become lifeless, to be quite honest. If the time for you is to walk through a new door, you can't try and remain in the old one because you start to lose your excitement, you start to lose your journey, you start to lose the things that care for you. And I think that's where, do I know where I'm going? Not everything, certainly not. Do I have a glimpse of a light in the tunnel? Yes, of course, because the Lord is faithful. But for me, it's really just starting a new journey. For me, it's really just being faithful to what the Lord is saying to me now. It's understanding where I'm going, it's understanding where that leads me. And where the passion that is given in my heart for people, how to lift that out beyond the borders of this entity. And lastly, the fact is that I'm not disappearing. I think that it's important to understand that you still have amazing shareholders, you still have amazing people in this company, and that one company can never be about one person. It can never be just me. Yes, I've given direction to the best of what I know, to inspiration that I felt I received from the Lord over 11 years. But in that, there's also a journey. There's a journey that one needs to know, and there's a journey that one needs to understand. So, interesting, life is a journey. You start off when you see light, and then you pass away if the Lord blesses you at the age of 80 or 90. But life is broken up in different journeys. And when one journey comes to an end, it doesn't necessarily mean that the next journey is going to be bad or less exciting than the one you currently have. My time and the way that you need to understand me is that my journey started with the Lord as a 17-year-old child when He changed my life. And ever since then, He has placed something in my heart about people or for people. He's given me an amazing love for people and for the people of Africa, and for making a change in the lives of people in Africa. It's also important for me to start release. Even though I love all of you, I love all the people in AFGRI, that's my heart. My heart is to love people. And I think if you understand that, then you understand my journey. So we had different journeys, and each one of them, I can tell you so many stories of miracles happening in this building and in this company over the last 11 years that blew my mind. But the biggest one is the love among the people. If there's one thing, I came in a culture that it was okay to lie, in a culture that, you know, just get the deal done, the customer will never know. It probably took me 3 years to change the culture to want to understand that a good deal is where you open and transparent with the customer, he knows what the pricing is, and he buys into it. And also among ourselves, you know, just to understand where we are. And it's probably the most difficult. There's a saying in leadership that culture eats strategy for breakfast. And it's so true. You can have the best ideas, you can have the best strategies. If you don't have a culture that supports the people, you will always fail. And I've seen it many times over. And it's interesting that the people driving that will never recognize it. They will see their failures, but they will never know why. Culture is very important. My culture that I said to the Exco actually in the very first meeting we had in early January is that, you know what, I felt in a sense that over the last 2 years we lost a bit of that relationship culture that I always loved. That family culture that is so important for me. And I said to him, that's the one thing in this year we need to get back. We need to get back to that understanding that we all one. We all want family. We all want relationship. And that's born out of love. Love for one another, respect for one another. We all make mistakes. I've made plenty. But you know what, through that, if you can stand still and you can analyze why you've made that mistake, then it's great. Then you can learn from that. Then you invest in something in 200 million rand and it makes money. So that's how you learn. So we do make mistakes. And in that journey that you start, you're always going to make mistakes. And it's never to go down with a mistake. It's how you tackle the next opportunity. But it should all be born out of love. So mistakes is made, but there's a reaction needed on mistakes, and that's forgiveness. And if you can live up to your mistakes and you can ask forgiveness, or you can go back to the drawing board and you can start over, then it's awesome. So if you see something going wrong, it's better to go to somebody and say, look, you know what, here's a problem. This thing is going to run into the wall, please can we do something? Especially the more difficult it is when you did it, when you made that decision. But it's still the best case, because if you bring it to the front, we can all work about it. You know, we can all see, okay, how do we manage that risk? How do we protect the company? If you don't, then it becomes a problem. There's Maurice, I came back one holiday and she put up next to my wall, it's impossible until it's done. It's something that Nelson Mandela has said. It always looks impossible until it's done. And that is something that you really need to understand. That is something that you really need to buy. And so if you can, maybe sometime today, take 10 minutes and think about it. Because what Nelson Mandela said, and why I said it, is because many things that will come across our path, whether it's a new journey, it's a new door that opens, it's going to look impossible. But you're the one that can do it. And you can only do it if you expect that you can do it. If you don't expect that you can do it, you're not going to be able to do it. Okay. Thank you very much. Enjoy the day.